Dawn, Lisa and Andy Jones discussing stuff that's making the news today. Dawn, we look at this, I don't know, this is just despairing. Police have failed to solve a single burglary in nearly half of all neighbourhoods in the country in the past 3 years.
Yeah, good morning. Happy Monday indeed. This is frankly horrific. It's a Telegraph exclusive. Analysis of police data shows that no burglaries were solved in 48% of neighbourhoods, areas covering between 1,000 and 3,000 people in the past 3 years.
Well, that's not just unlucky. That's obviously a policy.
It's just, well, but basically...
Nobody could be that stupid.
No, it's basically been decriminalised. It's like... And this was in 2022. Do we remember that all 43 police forces in the country promised we were going to investigate every burglary and take all seriously?
Well, at least attend them, if nothing.
Yeah, and it got worse.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is it has got worse since that. I mean, the proportion of burglaries since they said that has actually gone down. I mean, fewer than 1 in 25 reported burglaries are actually resulting in conviction now. It's like literally...
Have you ever been burgled?
Yeah, and this is the thing, right? OK, I was just going to say this, Isabel. The thing with burglaries, people dismiss it too easily. It can be incredibly traumatising.
Oof. No
really, really traumatising.
The thought of somebody in your safe space,
exactly
in your bedroom, rifling through your drawers, not knowing what they look like,
no,
and not feeling like anyone cares.
In our street last week on CCTV, 2 guys were caught with machetes, right, who were going to break in. Anyway, it didn't happen, but it spooked a lot of people, and you can see them with these big machetes.
Oh, my God.
Like that. But here's my fear, Andy. I don't have anything for anybody to steal. That's my problem. I don't keep cash, right? So you're not going to have cash in the house. We don't have jewellery.
Yeah.
Right. So
but that's the fear, though, isn't it? That they'll try and
I fear they're going to cut your fingers off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Your line.
They want your bank. They want your bank details. They want everything else.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. They're coming heavily prepared as well. They're not there to.
They would break in and steal TVs, but the TV's too big now. You can't take a TV. You can't take a painting off a wall unless it's.
No one's got any cash.
Nobody's got. So what do they steal?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, I think it's tech a lot of the time. It's phones and laptops and things like that. People's cars. I mean, back in the day, when my granddad was burgled. They not only nicked, basically, they nicked his suitcase, right, and nicked everything they could within the house, and that was just all sorts of rubbish as well. But they actually cooked a meal in his kitchen.
Oh my!
Oh my word!
But actually, that's better than what they used to do. They used to defecate.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. But it was just my poor granddad. And when he was in his 70s at the time, lived on his own, and it's like he just felt like he couldn't go back there after that.
Awful.
Yeah, I remember our house was burgled when I was a child. We were at a swimming gala and coming home and just not being able to sleep for months and months and months, just as a child, thinking that someone had been into our house. It really, really traumatised me.
Well, there's someone that comes into the houses in our area come from Ecuador and Colombia and Chile.
Oh, right.
And burglary tourists.
They fly into Heathrow Airport. They're then given assignments in areas. They go and they steal whatever they can. They bring it back to a warehouse. They're given a certain amount of cash for their troubles. They fly back home again. And then the loot is divided amongst British thugs or whatever.
Yeah, it's exactly the same with a lot of the shoplifting. The really high-end organised shoplifting is by people who fly in from South America or Eastern Europe, steal, dump all their stuff and go. And that's why it's very, very hard to prosecute them, because they're not here very long there. Effectively goes... Hertfordshire was the worst police force for burglary arrests. Only 1 in 50 reported burglaries resulted in a charge. So that's not even a conviction, that's a charge.
1 in 50.
So no deterrent about it at all. So if we were to shoot them all dead, would that put them off, do you think, if we put up...
It'd be 1 less. But you'd be in the dock. They'd be able to charge you.
Well,
you can't even injure them, can you? Couldn't even... We were talking about using a rounder's bat or a baseball bat to defend yourself.
You're the one that's going to get charged.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing.
Craziness. Should we talk about Jeremy Hunt's election budget, Andy?
Boring.
It's on the front. Well, we'll rattle through it then. Really just to say, you know, can he turn things around for the Tories?
Well, speaking of robbing you...
What am I going to tell you? Nothing in your life's going to change because of Jeremy Hunt on Wednesday.
No.
That's what I'm seriously meaning. Boring. Why are we even talking about it?
It is a bit moving deck chairs on the Titanic, isn't it? It is taking a couple of pence from one pocket and putting it in your other pocket. If you're interested in the numbers, I did write some numbers down. They're looking for £9 billion to balance this budget, and it's going to be a 2p cut in national insurance.
We don't know for sure, yeah.
Well, yes. And it'll be paid for... This 2p cut will be paid by stealth tax rises amounting up to £4 billion, along with possible plans to reduce government spending after the next election. So, I mean, they're just going to put it back with stealth taxes and something else. And also, euphemistically, reduce government spending. I mean, that's going to be impacts on the health service, potholes, policing, all of those other things.
Whitehall waste. Too many civil servants.
That's the thing.
One before, haven't we?
Well, we have absolutely, and he does have a point. We do have a lot more than before the pandemic. But the thing is, on this one as well, Isabel. OK, we've got too many civil servants, and a lot of them are paid a lot of money, and most of them are still working from home. All the old clichés. But we don't have enough of them to actually process asylum seekers quickly. So there's sort of like something going wrong there. You know, why don't we move some of these excess civil servants to start processing asylum seekers properly?
The whole country has gone down the tubes. You're right about administration in the civil service. We haven't got enough people to administer things and make things happen as well. I was in Belfast last week, and I have never in my whole life seen roads as bad. Every single road, every road. I'm not talking about some roads. I'm talking about country roads, city roads, lanes, motorways, everything appalling. To a degree where I look and I think, we used to have such good infrastructure. We really did. And I think, how could that ever be put right? I don't think it can be put right.
No. And obviously the impact then on cars, on time and everything else. My roads this morning were appalling on the way here. And the other problem is they never keep anyone in a job long enough to fix it. We were on about...
Correct.
We have a new education minister every week, we have a new health minister every few weeks, we have a new... And it's all, we're going to change this, but you can't even keep people in the job long enough to even implement the
See, I don't think it'll make a difference who you change in government. There's all as bad as each other. But I do think the system is awful. It is not fit for purpose. The whole parliamentary system that we have is just ridiculous. It isn't there to achieve anything or get anything done. So it's a complete mess. And it's about time we all started standing up to politicians and saying, you're talking rubbish. You're talking absolute dribble.
You know what, Eamonn, what I thought this weekend is they really treat us like fools, don't they? They think we're idiots. They think we're going to see all these headlines this morning and all over the weekend and go, oh, my God, that's amazing. You're going to give me an extra 2p. Thank you. I'm so grateful. And A, it won't happen because you won't be around. And B, it's not going to make any difference. And C, why can't you sort all the problems out first? That's more important.
Do you know what they really want to say? And it's quite obvious. They're really trying to say Ukraine has quite wrecked us financially.
Taken all the money.
Yeah, and we don't want to say it, but we don't want Ukraine. We don't want this war. We don't want to finance this anymore. There's no money for defence because we're spending it all on Ukraine, and that takes care of anything we had for our own people. And so Ukraine has gone out from the news. When is the last time you saw a Ukraine report on the news? It doesn't exist anymore. And wars, we're not. I mean, the idea that we're not in a position to defend the country or send out attack plans or anything else is just scandalous. That we haven't got a defence system.
Oh, come on, we've got 2 aircraft carriers. We haven't got enough people to man them both, but I mean, we've got 2.
No,
we fired Trident the other day and it almost landed on top of the boat that fired it.
Oh,
and
my
then
God,
the other time we fired it accidentally towards America.
It was funny, but it's not funny.
Yeah.
I mean,
Have we got time to do a bit of care or what?
Yes. A bit of care is very, very important.
But I think this is linked into what we're just talking about with these ridiculous promises about tax cuts. The Cash for Care Jobs visa scandal, undercover Mal probe has discovered that our vulnerable care residents are being looked after by unqualified migrants because they're being charged to be given visas, £20,000 by Conman to come over here and work. They've got no qualifications whatsoever, and they're working, caring for vulnerable people in care homes and in care homes, in their own homes, and it's just absolutely appalling. Vacancies in adult care are at a record high, and the number of foreign workers given permission to come over is also at a record high. But a lot of them are paying these conmen, and they're being ripped off themselves, but they have no qualifications.
There's no value placed on the job as it should be.
Well, exactly, Eamonn. Rather than promise me all sorts of airy-fairy stuff about tax cuts, concentrate and treat people who work in care homes and who are working as carers properly. Pay them what they're worth. Treat it like the proper job it is.
Absolutely agree with you, Dawn, but it'll not happen.
Yeah.
It's not a priority at all for this government or any other.
It really should be, Eamonn. It's such an important job.
So we relaxed the rules in 2020 to basically allow migrants to come in if they do a care job because we need carers. And these carers are now, there are these link men, these con men. One of them was a Baptist minister who was charging carers £9,000, and he said, I'll arrange you a little care job so you can stay in the country.
He's like the agent, isn't he?
He's almost like one of these people traffickers almost. £9,000. Another one was charged 20,000, and they said it's not unusual to see these carers arrive with, or fake carers who haven't even got qualifications, some of them, with holdalls for cash, give you the job, and then they're then let loose in a care home.
They're the people that should be charged in court. But a fascinating thing again in Belfast at the weekend. So I'm socialising with a number of people and I say, well, where do we go for a bite of lunch? Why don't we go here? Why don't we go there? And 17 hotels in Belfast, 17 places where you would go for a lunch or a dinner or whatever it happens to be, all bought up to house migrants.
Really?
17. I'm not talking. They don't hold 400. They may have 40 rooms associated with them or whatever. But 17 of them disappeared, who were part of all our lives growing up. That they were just part of the whole society there. Gone. 17 gone. And because there was no government supervising anything, all of this is allowed to happen over the last 3 years as well. 17 hotels taken out of commission and given.
So you can't get any rooms in these hotels. They're all just completely.
No, you've got big ones in the city centre and whatever, but road houses and things all gone. All gone. Absolutely incredible.
And I bet the people that worked in them have lost their jobs as well, because you don't need as many people.
But the thing is,
to
Ireland,
run a migrant
no one will
hotel.
talk about this. Everybody talks about what's going on in England. The migrant situation in Ireland, Southern Ireland, right? They all come in there. There's riots and fights and everything there, which no one's really talking about. And then what do? They can go north, they can cross the border. And when they cross the border, they can get to Belfast and they can go to Scotland or they can go to Liverpool or whatever. So they just come right into the UK and nothing's happening about it. So we've got Priti Patel after 8, she's 8 o'clock this morning. And she's a former Home Secretary. So we'll be saying to her, what would you do? Now, it's easy to talk tough when you're not in government itself. But Priti Patel always did talk tough about this, and not a lot of people liked it. But I just want to know, Dawn, the people who run this country, what do they want for it? I tell you what I would do straight away. I'd get rid of graffiti. I would get rid of litter. And I don't care what anybody says, because if your place looks well, you probably feel quite well within it.
Of course.
But graffiti and litter around this country is disgusting. Around the whole country.
Worse than ever, the litter situation. Every motorway, I mean, you've talked about motorway litter for a long time, but honestly, I get to the point now where I want to stop the car and I want to get out and pick stuff up, and I think this is dangerous.
Absolutely,
But why are they not litter picking? And we've talked about this before. Gosh, we're on a bit of a rant now. We can talk to Priti Patel about the burglary story, but I also absolutely maintain there are perfectly fit and healthy and able-bodied people within our prisons who would do well to have a bit of and exercise.
Human rights.
Get litter picking. Everybody's a winner in that scenario.
Well,
I don't understand it.
If I could get money, and here's what litter consists of: plastic Lucozade and Ribena bottles, coffee cups and mugs from every outlet that there is. KFC, McDonald's, you just look, a motorway, milk bottles, well, they're not bottles, they're plastic, and you look at a slip road at a motorway, you go off a slip road, getting ready to go on the roundabout, whatever, just look down, absolutely up to your knees in the stuff. The people who do it are disgusting.
Yeah, there should be tougher charges for those people. Should we end on a high on this note, Dawn? This is a story, page 3 of the Mail. Over 80s are still happy in the bedroom. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
You went to this story, Isabel. God, we need cheering up. It's a Monday morning. And this is a survey, ironically done by a care home organisation.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
I know, yeah. And it's many of the UK's over 80s agree with 81-year-old President Biden, who came out recently and said sex was very, very important still, secret to a long marriage. And 1 in 7, that's 14% of those aged 80 to 84 are still sexually active, according to the survey. And for those in their 70s, the figure is 1 in 5. So lots of grown-up cuddles going on for our older generation.
It's harder to find romance in your 40s than it is in your 70s.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I think good luck to every one of them who have company and feel that this is the case, that they're not dead and gone.
As always, the younger generation are going, ooh,
well, of course,
you're not
we can all remember
really.
the thought, oh, someone over 40 having sex, horrifying. Now I'm over 40. Yeah, I realise that.
But young people aren't having any sex, but older people are. I think it's older people have got more time.
They're having more sex than us.
Yes.
Well,
Everyone's having more sex than me.
Yeah, well, let's not go there. Dawn, Andy, appreciate it. We'll see more from you just after 7:30. But for now, let's say
we've been talking about a few things there today, so let us know. GBViews@gbnews.com. Good morning, Greg.